Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is the Czar of Jars, the Duke of Dust, the Baron of Bottles. It's David Cross.
What's going on, my man?
I am excited. I am very excited for this episode. Ernest Scared Stupid is one of my favorite movies. It wrecked my life in 91, and I've just written about it. I write about it every year. I pitch it to every single, I wrote about it for Movie Pilot. I wrote about Ernest Scared Stupid for Cracked. I'm trying to get it into Rotten Tomatoes. Basically, anywhere I am, I write or preach the gospel of Ernest Scared Stupid. And you love this movie, too.
I absolutely love this movie. I am very happy we're doing this. Like you, it is a touchstone for my childhood. I remember seeing it at the Dollar Theater when I was a little kid with all of my friends. Thank God, my mom took us. I'm sure she hated it, but I had a great time, and it's always stuck with me.
And I love that you said touchstone, because it was the last movie that the director John Cherry and Jim Varney did with Disney, and they released it under Touchstone.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I think I've talked about this before in the pod, but I read director John Cherry's book, Keeper of the Clown: My Life with Ernest, where they talk about all the commercials they started off in. Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Goes to Jail, and then Ernest Scared Stupid. And the making of this film, John Cherry got into heated debates with Disney because there was too much snot on the troll. The troll was too scary. He didn't want the troll to be sugar-coated. He specifically made this troll as mean as possible and with a one-minded goal. And Disney hated it. And it wasn't marketed that much. And parents complained to Disney that the troll was too scary. And in the end, the movie only made about $30 million inflated. And I watched this in 91. And I was 9 years old. And during that time, I was a world-weary child, unsupervised child of the 80s, 90s. And so I had seen horror movies before at 9. But for some reason, this troll and the way it took children who were kind of my age or a little older than me at anywhere, like skateboarding, walking in the woods, in your bed, it wrecked me for a month. I was, if you could envision a 9-year-old sitting in a dark room smoking a cigarette and drinking cheap blended whiskey, that was me, the month after I watched Ernest Scared Stupid. It was an ordeal for me, David.
So I completely relate. When I was a kid, there's two movies that really freaked me out. And number one was Child's Play.
Oh, yeah.
My great-grandmother gave me a My Buddy doll.
Oh, jeez Louise.
And then I took it home and chucked it in the basement and never played with it because it scared me.
Hey, you chucked it in the basement?
Yeah, that's a good pun. And then right below that is the troll from this movie.
I mean, Trantor the Troll, in the beginning of this film, he's hunting a screaming child. They use a child as bait. And when they bury the troll, I liked how it explains how dumb Ernest is, but Ernest really isn't dumb. He's actually a brilliant guy. He's dumb, but it explains Ernest because the entire Worrell line has been cursed. So It's not his fault. It's this troll's fault.
Yeah. This might be a really good time to jump into this. I tried to figure out what Ernest's IQ is.
Okay, so we're taking everything together. Now, you watch Ernest Goes to Jail, and he has made inventions. He knows how to rig bathtubs or washing machines to make them a bathtub. I mean, they always mess up, but if he went to the proper school, if he had scholarships, I think he would be. So what was his IQ? What'd you have?
So I put him at around 75, and to give you just a baseline. So between 100 and 115 is normal. So 100 is normal and 115 is on the higher end of normal. And what I did was say that his great-grandfather, I believe Phineas Worrell, was at 115, and then just subtracted 10% all the way down till I got to him.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so he's around 75, which is on the low end of normal. Because like you, I do think that he is actually way smarter than people give him credit for, because he is a genius inventor in a lot of ways.
He and 3 children and a dog put together a beautiful treehouse in a day, in an afternoon. I mean, They put together... So... We talked about this. I wanted to do some data about this Ernest treehouse. And so I went through and I looked at everything in it. So you have pizza, dog food cannon, beach balls, remote control helicopter, pallets, picket fences, blankets, radios, coolers, bowling balls, basketball hoop, shelf, knickknacks, net rope, fan, glass jars, ladder, exhaust fans, beanbag chairs, water jugs, flag and directional signals, window panes, large bass, front of a car, blankets, towels, lawn chair, a hockey net, a crate, wooden chairs, ice shooter, fencing that you just take from fences, barrels, fake ducks, a single nail, sawing, porta potty wall, electric screwdrivers, car doors, bowls, more picket fences, a door frame that was all windows, trophies, and a rope ladder. So they did that in an afternoon. This movie
and
takes
there was mechanical parts too.
There's winches. Ernest built a homemade helicopter that can carry heavy items up 20 feet into a treehouse.
Would you say he's sort of an idiot savant?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would too. He's very, very good at making weird stuff. Him and Pee-wee.
And, what else I like about this movie is these kids help build. These are kids using saws and screwdrivers, and they're riding their bikes. I mean, this was 91, a long time ago. But it's kind of fun. Like, that's kind of what kids in the 90s did. I lived in a neighborhood that connected to 3 other neighborhoods, and I would just ride my bike around all day and get into trouble and show up. Yeah. And so I kind of related to this. But this treehouse, they did that in a single afternoon. And it's kind of brilliant how they built it. So he used pallets and he used like random pieces of wood. And what I was most brilliant about this treehouse is when you look at the production design. And the production designer of this movie is actually a really well-known guy. So this guy who's the production designer is Chris August. And he worked on Conan the Barbarian, the Ernest movies. He worked on Hot Rod, Underworld Evolution. And he did To All the Boys I've Loved Before, 2 and 3, which are going to come out on Netflix. If you look at the floor of this treehouse, it's boards, and then some of it's plywood. I mean, it's all different things because Ernest said that he collected stuff over years. And then they built the walls around it with, beach balls or 5-gallon jugs or pieces of a porta potty. So it's not the most sturdy. It's just a really ingenious treehouse.
And necessary.
Yeah, high ground.
Yeah. Later on, Lucas would be like, "Oh, the high grounds." Yeah.
I think George Lucas could have learned from the Botswanians and how they defeated the Ottoman Empire. I love his multiple personalities. And you brought up something pretty interesting to me that I really never thought about. And you said, how many times does he have to change? And I kind of thought about that. And I kind of thought, is he changing? But you said it's just all in his head doing different voices to kind of entertain kids. But is he entertaining kids or is he just a weirdo?
So I don't know. And I think it depends on the movie. In this movie, I think it's all in his head.
Yeah. Oh, but the kid's listening. I'm defending the fort with a multiple personality.
Yeah, so he's thinking he's changing all these characters. And furthermore, I read about him, his character Ernest, and he apparently is a quote unquote master of disguise, but only with people within his lineage. So all those people that he was pretending to be were somehow related to him.
Oh my God! So the lumberjack?
Yeah.
There ain't no trees in Botswana. No.
In my mind, that is his brother. Because there's that line in this movie that goes, "You're the 7th son of a 7th son." So that's one of his 6 brothers.
Oh, yeah. How about someone's here milk punch? So I know a guy, so when I was working in the film world, I knew a guy that worked on Ernest Goes to Camp. And they said that during the weekend, or not every weekend, but they would drop Ernest off on a Friday, or Jim Varney off on a Friday, then they'd pick him up on a Sunday, and he would just go out in the woods camping.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, isn't it?
I mean, everything I've read about him has been he was a rad dude who just happened to chain smoke.
And when he's bad, he looks kind of nice.
Did you what else did you read about him as an actor?
So I also read his nephew wrote a book about him, My Life with. He wrote another book. I can't think of the name right now, but I read both of them. And so he wanted to start off as he was trained in Shakespearean acting. He wanted to be a serious actor. However, he needed money one time, and they developed this weird character kind of based on his family for this commercial. And that commercial became huge. And then he became he started selling ice cream. He started selling, they would film 8 commercials in one day at one house.
I heard up to 20.
Yeah, and so they would just shoot piece after piece after piece. And around the United States and in different markets, Ernest was huge. And so he always wanted to be a different actor. He really did. And I don't think he ever found the work satisfying. But eventually he had a really great home in Kentucky. I think he helped his family. I think he learned eventually to embrace it. Mm-hmm. I think he was remember when Beverly Hillbillies came out? He was so excited to be a different character. And he's very good in Beverly Hillbillies. And he's in the Toy Story movies, so I hate seeing Slinky Dog now. That Chucky did a promo for the latest Child's Play where it was destroying the Slinky Dog. I got so mad. But yeah, he wanted other roles, but he definitely got pigeonholed into being Ernest. Once he got that role, there was really no coming back from that for him. But I think he learned to accept it eventually.
Yeah, I read that he basically said that. He was like, well, it's sort of a trap, but it's a good and bad thing. Like, I'm always recognized for this, but I'm also always having to do this. I think his last movie he did was something with Billy Bob Thornton, like a serious role. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Actually, I've never heard about that movie.
Yeah, and some other things I found out about him. Like, so he was one of the most requested people for like Make-A-Wish foundations, and even when he was very sick and dying of cancer, he would still make phone calls or show up in character for these kids.
He worked tirelessly for charities. Like, he was always doing something, and I think he realized the power of Ernest after a while.
So do you know that he has an Emmy?
Yeah, for his TV show.
Yeah, I didn't even know he had a TV show.
Yeah, one season, one
Emmy.
Yeah, I mean, like you can watch it all online. I think the show is online.
Yeah,
I mean, but he was big business, dude. He did 4 movies for Disney. So I mean,
was it a total? He did 4 movies for Disney, but it's like 8 or 9 different movies altogether.
Yeah, so he did Ernest Goes to Camp, then he did Ernest Saves Christmas, then he did Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Scared Stupid, Ernest Rides Again, Ernest Goes to School, Ernest in the Army, Ernest Slam Dunk, Ernest Goes to Africa. So he did those movies. You know what's crazy? Ernest Rides Again was supposed to be in like a nationwide release, and it was going to come to a theater near my house. I was looking at all the paper clippings, and then the Friday when it came out, it wasn't playing near any of the theaters near me. It went to 600 theaters, but nothing near me. And I was like heartbroken that I couldn't go watch Ernest Rides Again. So I had to rent it on VHS.
I think there's one more in there. Dr. Otto and the Riddle.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Otto. Yep.
That's on Amazon right now. So Amazon Prime. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. I have not. I'm definitely going to try it, though.
Oh, gotta watch it. I haven't seen it either. I need to check it out. Now, I have another question.
Yeah.
There's a scene in this. All right, so Ernest, right? And Ernest goes to camp. He fulfills a prophecy. A guy shoots at him 3 times and misses. So he fulfills this ancient prophecy. And in Ernest Saves Christmas, he literally saves Christmas. Santa Claus is real. In Ernest Goes to Jail, he gets electrocuted, doesn't die, learns how to fly and float. So there's a scene in Ernest Scared Stupid where Old Lady Hackmore, which I love they call her that, says wolves, werewolves, zombies, ghouls. You can kill them all with this, but we got to deal with trolls. So werewolves, zombies, and vampires exist in this world, correct?
I'm so happy you brought that up because I also wrote that quote down. 100% correct. In this world, there's all these crazy animals. There's all these curses. It's a magical, cartoonish world. And Ernest happens to be like the chosen one of everything.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is an angel who gives him magic shoes.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, so that one's fun. Ernest Goes to School is kind of the last one with a really nice production value, I would say. But yeah, so this movie's magical, correct? So there are other... Okay, and then he goes to Tom and Bobby to buy... He buys a trolling motor from Tom and Bobby. It's like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so he buys, right, troll away spray, troll waders, that's a joke, nunchucks, that's a joke, slime-proof gloves, that's a joke. But there is troll away spray and there's troll bait. So are trolls an issue in this world? Because you wouldn't make gag gifts like that. He had those because he said in Germany he was part of the 82nd Airborne Troll Destruction Unit. So are trolls an issue in this world?
I think at one point they had to have been, but maybe not in the United States because they had captured the single troll.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, the other option there is that they went in the back of the shop and just started writing this stuff, like writing troll away on stuff and then selling him like random things for just scratched out brand name. It just says troll away instead.
$50 a pound, 50 pounds.
I laugh so hard. That's the thing about this movie. There's so many one-liners and gags that